4 years. For 4 years, she was the absolute center of my universe. My sun, my moon, my everything. And then, in a single heart-stopping moment, my entire world shattered because of one picture. It all started with my best friend, Sam. We'd known each other since we were kids. He was the one who introduced me to Shay. He told me he was bringing a new person to our annual trip planning, and with a mischievous wink he said, "I think you're really going to like her. You two will just click." He wasn't wrong. The moment I met Shay, I was captivated. She was gorgeous, witty, and we shared so many passions. It felt like finding a missing piece of myself. But I sensed a wall, a distance from her that kept me at arm's length. I figured she just wasn't interested. We became friends, hanging out, and she even welcomed me into her circle. About a year later, Sam announced he was moving across the country for a promotion. It was a bittersweet moment, sad to see him go, but proud of his success. The very next day, literally within 24 hours of his news, Shay pulled me aside. With trembling hands and a voice full of emotion, she confessed she'd had feelings for me all this time but was too afraid to admit it. I was stunned. I hadn't seen a single sign. But it didn't matter. The world felt perfectly balanced, losing a friend to distance, but gaining the woman I was falling for. When I told Sam, his reaction was odd. He was dismissive, almost shocked. "Are you sure that's what she said?" he asked. It was strange, but he eventually said he was happy for us. The next 3 years were pure bliss. We were inseparable, the couple everyone looked up to. Her sisters joked that the way I looked at Shay was how their husbands looked at their game consoles. When she traveled for work, we'd fall asleep on FaceTime together, and I'd wake up to the sound of her soft snoring through the phone. I'd tease her, calling her my alarm clock, and she'd playfully hate it. I was truly deeply happy. I proposed during a Thanksgiving dinner, surrounded by our families. The joy I felt when she said yes was immeasurable. I thought that feeling would last a lifetime, and it did. For about another year. Then, a message popped up in our group chat. It was from Sam. He was single again. I felt terrible for him, the guy who had always looked out for me, the one who introduced me to my future wife. Felt so unfair. Then came our annual trip. This year, Sam wanted his own place, which made sense. He needed space. But the moment Shay saw him, it was like a switch flipped. She became cold and distant with me, constantly hovering around him. It was like I was invisible, just like when we first met. I tried to rationalize it, telling myself she was just comforting an old friend through a tough breakup. But then came the first night. I realized they were both gone. Missing. My heart began to pound. I called her. It went straight to voicemail. A sound I hadn't heard in 3 years of our official relationship. Panic started to set in. 5 minutes later, a text from her. "Sorry babe, emergency with my mom. Had to leave." In my blind love, I went into protector mode, offering to fly out with her immediately. She said Sam was already taking her. In hindsight, the red flags were blinding, but I was caught in a web of trust, spun by the woman I loved and the friend I'd known my whole life. An hour later, another notification from the group chat. I opened it. There it was, a picture of them kissing. The caption read, "You were right, old flames don't die." The world went silent. In the house, chatter died, and every eye turned to me. My mind raced, desperately trying to find an explanation. It's photoshopped. Her account was hacked. It's a weird camera filter. I even screenshotted it, examining the fingers to see if it was AI generated. But the truth was undeniable. The message was meant for someone else, a confidant in her betrayal, and sent to the group by mistake. Then she called, her voice deceptively calm. "Hey, are you okay? Did you see that weird picture before it got deleted?" I played dumb. "What picture?" She told me to forget it, that she was tired and going to sleep. Then she said, "I love you." I couldn't say it back. I just ended the call. I knew I had to leave. As I walked out the door, all I heard were faint murmurs of, "That's messed up," and "Sorry, bro." The flight home was a blur of pain. I had to fight the urge to forgive her, knowing that if I saw her face, I would break. So I took action. I changed the locks on the house, my house, and began to pack. Every item of hers I touched was a poisoned memory. I mailed everything to her mother's address. Just as I was about to text her that we were done, a friend of hers messaged me, shedding light on the situation. Apparently, Sam and Shay had a history, A toxic on and off cycle. I sent Shay one last message. I told her she no longer lived with me, her belongings were at her mom's, and she could keep the ring. I wanted nothing to do with it. It was tainted. Her calls and texts flooded my phone. A torrent of apologies, excuses about her period making her emotional, pleas for another chance. I ignored them all. Then one day she was at my door. I spoke to her through the doorbell camera. She begged me to let her in, breaking down in tears, saying Sam wouldn't let her stay with him and she had nowhere to go. She talked about forgetting the past and living our lives together as if it were just a mistake. That's when I finally broke. A mistake. I told her that she didn't just break my trust, she shattered my ability to ever trust anyone again. Every cute little quirk, every memory we shared. I said, my voice shaking with rage and pain. You've poisoned them all. They hurt now. You want me to live with that pain for the rest of my life. I told her if she ever truly cared, she would leave and never come back. She sat on my doorstep crying for another half hour, and then she left. Sam never reached out. He just vanished. To this day, I don't understand why he would set me up with his fling, only to tear my life apart years later. I probably never will. My anniversary was coming up, and I was drowning in my own thoughts. I spoke with Shay's mom, a wonderful woman who was genuinely concerned for me. I couldn't help but ask about Shay. She told me Shay had moved back home and started therapy. She wasn't eating, wasn't leaving her room, just spiraling. And as much as I hate to admit it, hearing that hurt me. A part of me just wanted to hold her and tell her everything would be okay. I'm hopeless. I asked her mom to tell Shay I would call tonight. I have questions. I need answers. I don't know what will happen, but I know I need to see a therapist. This story, it's not over. And maybe, just maybe, everything will work out somehow.